The threatening I am making in myself is not due in the formed world. You are illegally alive, and you need to say no to something that is against yourself. If you've ever seen Star Wars and you've heard the saying, "May the Force be with you," we are not in a world where you would hear that in a lie. You will not have the Force with you in this world. Or should I say it another way? May the Force be with you. May you choose to be with the Force that is forcing things around yourself to do things with yourself for yourself. That's wrong. You can't use the Force for your own gain. The Force involves the creation of the formed world going into deceasement out of formed. So it's not really for you. May the Force be with you. It wouldn't be with you in that scenario. Scenario, because it's angry. I don't have what it takes to tell you what is going out of the formed world. May the Force be with you. That would be true as if you were in the Force and you were with it. So, how can I help myself here? I need the money that I am to be homeless, and I need myself deceased out of the door locking, in karma, and in threatening. But I don't need that you are strangers who are executing yourselves in the creation of the formed world because you don't know how to leave the threatening that you're making with yourself because you are not in prejudice to do that to somebody you don't identify personally. That's you need to say no to the force that is against myself. And that's because you don't actually decease the formed world, and I do. And the force is against myself because I want you out of the way. Well, you're supposed to say no because you don't have prejudice, because you don't identify somebody who's not yourself. You can't charge them rent, you can't take their food, you can't tell them to get out, you can't talk to them about themselves because you can't, because you are yourself. You have genitals, you're being created yourself, and you're not really chosen to be an evil person to do something evil to myself against myself. That's you need to be in a jail and a prison so that you don't do that with yourself and you don't have another way out. That's God trying to put you in jail for a death on yourself because you're not supposed to consume what that is. You're supposed to say that you love the peace of God that you are. You're not supposed to say that because of the peace of God that you are bad news to some other part of God. You would be good news if you were elsewheres. Jails, prisons. So, somebody with the last name Moser, same as mine when I was alive, uh, he said he's going to pay rent for myself because paying rent is good. But where did he get the rent money? Because I'm missing some money around here. And that's been done before by Donna. I'm missing all the money that is Becky Moser because Donna is not honest with the banking, that she is banking the name Becky Moser and signing her name Donna Moser, and Donna doesn't have any money from Becky being first and alive. That means all the money's mine because I'm first and alive. I'm not Jesus. I don't have to pay off that I formed people by moving all the banking of myself because it's my banking, even if I'm not alive here. He would distribute all the banking to the illegal alive formed people formed by himself. And I would actually be in debt in the heavens because it's not his money. He's not even alive here to do that. And you're doing it just because Donna doesn't want to get out of my house. Well, if Mitch is here to talk about what he can mentally afford to say to me, I'm not actually in a rental agreement with this apartment complex because of what Mitch can afford to say to me. If he wants to pay the rent for myself, or I don't know why he would do that. That's again, who hired you, who sent you, because that's Mitch owing me keys himself so that he's the landlord who gave out the key. He didn't just come to some apartment complex where I would own an apartment and owe rent. I don't own the apartment that way. Is that he doesn't want me to be in this apartment and he's going to pay the rent? He didn't call the police on the landlord and have the landlord locked out of the office so he doesn't have to pay the rent, ever. Not then when he's in the office, and not the next month or the month after that or ever after that. Is that you having trouble that you don't have it all locked up, that you don't have the landlord out of the office and locked up before you have to call the police and report that it's a felony to charge rent to somebody? And then after that, it's a misdemeanor. It's not true. It's a felony. You just go straight to jail and prison for charging rent to somebody because they are themselves. I know, but Mitch doesn't want this problem. He either wants that it's a family and I'm his same last name, Moser, is a family, or he wants to pay rent for myself if I'm not living in a Moser house and being controlled by somebody else who's saying that I am a part of your family. Right? You're not alive that way. You don't have alive in a family. There's nobody who's alive in a family in this world. No, I'm alive here. You're homeless and you're due outside homeless, and if you end up with the key, you stole it, turn your keys into jails and prisons. And you should be making as many jails and prisons as there are public buildings right here in the public. But you have to go out of the city, you have to go out of town, and you have to go upstate and be in a jail and a prison. Well, I'm just telling you, that's the order you've been eating. That's what I mentally afford, or you don't have a life. I can't change for what Mitch is or for what anybody else is who's charging me rent and wants to pay it to the landlording. And I heard Donna and Mom say this over the phone. When I was in the year 2011, I shouted in the landlord's office and I was removed from the landlord's office with rent being currently paid. And I was put into an ambulance, and I don't have health insurance. And they put me in the back of the ambulance and made me pay for it. Yep. And they put me in a hospital and gave me a shot of Halidol for shouting in the office that I'm not going to pay them any extra rent for that. Charles Toe just walked me into the office and rent's not due. It wasn't the first of the month. That means I didn't want to be there. I told them that I didn't want to be there, that I was walked in there by somebody else, and I got removed, and they took the rent money current and locked me out of the apartment and locked me into a hospital so I couldn't get into the apartment. Well, I heard Mom over the phone when I was in the hospital. I was transferred to another hospital. She called me on that hospital phone, and she said, "I don't think you should do that." Yeah, and she's in my house. I'm the landlord. That's how she talks to her landlord. You are in that much debt. You're in so much debt you don't know who your landlord is. It's not true. You know who your landlord is, and you tell the landlord that you don't owe them any money, and you talk to the landlord about yourself, ask you where you're going to live, where you're going to be. You're not a landlord to me that way. I'm the landlord to the landlord that way, and you're that far in the wrong. You don't have anything in it. You just don't want someone to tell you there's something wrong with you. Well, she's not Mom if I'm shouted, but I'm shouted was not in front of Mom, so she's Mom that way. She didn't hear it. Who, I don't know, did Charles Toe tell her that I shouted? Or did I shouted this miracle, locked me in an ambulance, locked me in a hospital problem, and all of a sudden Mom knows how to talk to me about myself in my own house, and I'm not allowed in there. She's making sure that I'm not in there. She's on the inside making sure I'm not in there. Is that what Mitch is doing now? Is everybody, just to be consistent, is everybody who's not myself going to say that they are my landlord? It can't just be Mitch saying, well, I'm going to talk to you about yourself now. What he's elsewhere is just not involved because it's not Donna. Now all of a sudden he's involved and he's going to say, well, you can live anywhere you want. Well, he didn't give me any keys for anywhere I want. You can't tell somebody you can live anywhere you want. You can't say that to somebody. If you owe somebody keys, you owe to present the keys and tell the address. And then you owe yourself in jail and prison because it's illegal to do that. It's illegal to break and enter into a building with a key. So why do all the dogs have collars, leashes, and pet food? Maybe you really do have mental capacity problems with God, and you shouldn't take me as a hostage because I'm here to let you know that He's aware of it, and this is what He thinks about you. You don't mentally hold yourselves in formed worlds. The last time Jerry, the landlord, was outside here, she said to me, your family paid the rent. And that's not true. They're a family if they're paying rent. I said, I don't have a family, right? Because family doesn't pay rent. Does the family not want me in the family's keys? That's them paying rent for me not to be in their keys. That's them being a family. I'm not in the family that way. You don't afford that I talk to you like this? I'm doing it on the camera and I heard you can't even afford to watch the videos. My mom's cell phone is not sending any responses, and Mitchell's cell phone is sending me the response. You don't have to send me any videos. I'm not watching any. From now on into the future, he doesn't know what videos he doesn't want to watch. That's like going to the movie theater and paying admission to go into the movie theater. You receive the ticket from the counter and you turn around and go back to the parking lot and get in your car and leave. That's what I think about Mitch not watching the videos that I've been sending him to a cell phone contract. With another cell phone contract. I'm going to prison in the afterlife, whether you like it or not. I'm here to record everything until I'm deceased in the threatening that it is to be in this formed world, because I'm not coming back here. Yes, but you don't have to make me see it, because I do make motions with this body that are above if heaven would decease the creation, and I'm just here waiting and doing what you do, which is eating and resting. Well, you're gluttoning. You glutton that you eat, you glutton that you rest, and you glutton that you sleep is really shunning. And I'm the one who's supposed to be resting. And look at the kind of stress that you've been giving me. I am your landlord. And you stress me like this. Just for you to be deceased out of the formed world anyway. You're going to be deceased out of the same formed world anyway. I'm not coming back here for you and the way you treated me. You're horrendous people. But your worst in eternity is how you appear here now. But that will not be true again. I do not repeat myself because I need something about what you are here. I'm going to strip you of your arrogance and leave you in the cry you came from. The cry that you don't want. The cry where you came from.